Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. We are waiting for another group to join us. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for coming today. And I want to welcome you to the Lafayette Parish School System building. We're in the boardroom. And welcome you to the Community Resource Forum. This is the second one that we've done this school year, and we intend to build on it in the future. I'm Ellen Castellanos. I'm a program specialist with the Department of Special Education. I'm the LEAP Connect supervisor, which is the alternate assessment. Before we get started, I'd like to thank some people. I'd like to thank our Executive Director of Special Education for encouraging our efforts in this regard, Holly Ortego. And I'd like to thank our superintendent, Francis Touchette. He's really supported special education and continues to encourage our efforts to reach for the stars for our students in Lafayette Parish and provide the best information, education, and support that we can offer them. The purpose of this meeting is really to provide parents, guardians, families with information about community resources that may be available to you or your children. The resources available in Lafayette are vast and varied, so it's important to keep your mind open and communicate with people and seek the support that you think you might need. As a school system, it's our intention to use every avenue that we can to get this information out to the students of our school system. This is just one way that we do it. The resources that you'll hear about today can include anything from continuing tutorship information about age of majority, supported employment, financial assistance, summer programs, and really so much more. We have two presenters that are here with us today. You, as students or parents and guardians of middle and high school students, will have contact with two of these agencies, certainly, as you move on to school. One of the agencies that was going to attend today, and she was unable to be here, is Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. So I will, when the time comes, give a brief rundown of the services that they provide. Nicole Flores of Families Helping Families is here with us today, as well as Troy Abshire. Before they get started, I just wanted to tell you all a little bit about the two of them, and they can expand on that a little bit more as well. Nicole Flores is the Executive Director of Families Helping Families, and she's also the parent of a child with special needs. So she brings to her job and her life's work a really unique and helpful perspective in connecting people to important services. She is really, like Mr. Abshire, a tireless advocate in Region 4 of Louisiana and really beyond. They are people that are in the know and can connect us to the people that can provide services that are needed. We utilize really their vast knowledge in the Lafayette Parish School System all the time. These are people that are familiar to us and that we see in our schools. Mr. Abshire has been working for decades in Lafayette Parish in Region 4 for people with special needs. And we really consider ourselves lucky to have his broad knowledge as we link our students to services that his agency provides, which is Acadiana Area Human Services District, also known as OCDD. So we really are lucky to have him. We call on him and his agency frequently, so he'll speak today as well. We'll start with Ms. Flores. She'll provide information about families helping families, and then we'll move on to Mr. Abshire. So thank you all for coming. Appreciate your attention. At the end of each speaker, we can take some time. Y'all can ask some questions. I think we have people online and on a Facebook Live. They can interject some questions for us as well. We'll do our best to get to those live. If we cannot, we'll answer those questions later as well. So thank you all so much. I sure do appreciate it. Here's Nicole Flores with Families Helping Families.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So thanks for having me. Like Ellen mentioned, my name's Nicole Flores, and I'm the director of Families Helping Families of Acadiana. And what we are is a one-stop shop for anything disability related, or if you have a special health care need. All of us at our office either have a child with a disability and/or we have disability ourselves. So it's different from going to a doctor and they say, oh, go talk to this specialist or take this medicine. You get to meet our workers, and they're people who have been through the same thing. And it's nicer to have that peer support and be able to, connect one-on-one. So, next slide. So, so a little bit about how I came to Families Helping Families of Acadiana. My daughter is an 11th grader in Lafayette Parish schools and receives special ed services. You can see that first picture. She was born at 26 weeks. She was 1 pound, 4 ounces. So she was the size of a 20-ounce Coke bottle. And we didn't know what we were doing. She was in the hospital a long time. And we got out, and she got into special education. So we finally just started to get some help, but we still had no idea what we were doing. We had no services other than school. And then finally, one day, when she was about in middle school, we learned about Families Helping Families. And I connected with them, and we were able to get help, to get into the waiver system, start getting help. She was able to get Medicaid. And then finally, I went back there, and I became the education person in 2017, and then I became the director in 2020. So it's my life, it's my work, and they're never going to get rid of me. So Families Helping Families is not just like a business. We're a nonprofit, but it's who we are and what we do. It's really personal to us. So yeah, just some of the pictures and when she was a little baby and everything, but now she's an 11th grader. So next slide. So what Families Helping Families is, we are 9 centers across the state. No matter where you live, you can call and get help from a Families Helping Families. We're a nonprofit. We don't charge anything. We make sure you can get help. A lot of things are related to schools. Maybe you want to get a job, post-secondary help. Maybe you don't even know where to start. You can contact a Families Helping Families, and we'll be able to help you find the answer you need. So how did we even come around? Prior to 1988, if you had a disability and you needed help, you had to go somewhere. A lot of times you had to go to an institution to get help. You couldn't stay at home with your family. You couldn't stay in your community. You'd have to be sent away. Well, in 1988, the Louisiana Developmental Disabilities Council had a conference, and they talked about how in these other states, in Wisconsin, in Minnesota, you could actually stay at home and get services and not have to get sent away. You could stay at home, you could work, be in your home with your family, in your community. So they had all the stuff around the walls, and the conference was about to end. And they said, are we going to leave all this stuff on the wall? Or are we actually going to do something? So what they did is all of these people got together. They started to advocate for themselves and for their families, and they passed Act 378. And that created the Community and Family Support System, which includes things like the Families Helping Family Centers. You'll see things like the waiver office that Mr. Abshire will talk about later, and all kinds of supports so you could stay in your home and not have to be sent away to get services. What happened is they had the Families Helping Families networks created, And then in 2021, we had our 30-year anniversary. So that's just a little bit about the background, and I'll give you some information about specifically what we do. Next slide. So we're a network. We have 9 centers across the state. Here, we actually service Acadia, Evangeline, Iberia, Lafayette, St. Landry, St. Martin, and Vermilion parishes. So if you live there, you can call us for help. And if you move, we can get you one of the other centers' numbers. All of us are nonprofit agencies. We're family directed. All of us either have disabilities and our children with disabilities. And we promote advocacy through empowerment. We basically want to teach, let's say we teach parents how to advocate for their children. Then they can teach their children to advocate, so one day they can go and be advocates on their own. We serve all disabilities, all special health care needs, and the main thing is all of us have the unwavering belief that individuals with disabilities deserve a meaningful life in their community. So the big picture, the 9 centers, you can get help for free wherever you live. Next slide. So we have these 9 different centers, and we all have this main purpose, but we have to build what we need in our community. So in Acadiana, we have partnerships with Early Steps, the Bureau of Family Health, the Louisiana Department of Education, OCDD, Acadiana Area Human Services District, Family to Family Health Information Center. We also have the Youth Leadership Forum, and you'll see outside I have brochures on that as well as our main brochures. And then we also have our parent-to-parent program through the Louisiana Children's Trust Fund. Okay? So all of the centers, like mentioned, we operate, basically the same way, but we have different funding sources. All of us, have contracts with the Developmental Disabilities Councils, the Department of Health, and the Department of Education. And other centers have other fundings, like we have Early Steps, OCDD, and then you'll have private grants too. So we're a nonprofit, but we operate off of a lot of different grants and partnerships. Okay? So on here I have a slide that shows you all of the different regions. We're in Region 4 down here, and it includes the parishes we serve. And our mission is to assist and strengthen individuals with disabilities and their families through a network of resources, services, and supports. And then you can see the different regions. If you move to Lake Charles, you'd contact the FHF in Region 5. Okay? So what do? Let's say you came to our center, you needed help. You're graduating, you want to see what's available later on. You give us a call. The big thing that we always provide peer-to-peer support, education and training, and then information, resources, and outreach. Okay? So peer-to-peer support, that's like I was saying, you go to a doctor and you get a diagnosis, you're talking to this professional, that's great. But you want to talk to somebody who's been, through what you've been through. I want to find a job, but I need hearing aids. What can I do? Or I'm graduating, but I don't want to go to college. What are some options? You want to talk to somebody who's been through it and can explain it to you in terms that are kind of familiar. So that one-on-one support, we have trained staff, and we have people with lived experience, because that's what's most important. We give living proof. We encourage people, and this also includes professionals. So peer-to-peer support is the big thing, getting help from someone who's been in the same place. Next slide. Another thing we have is education and training. We have webinars, trainings on every known topic, disability-specific, adult-specific, conferences. We'll attend IEP meetings, and we also work to help parents know their rights and responsibilities and how to advocate for their children. Okay? Another big one is, like today, making sure people have information and resources, and we're doing outreach to reach people who maybe can't come to us. So we want to make sure that we're giving you the right information that's up to date and it's relevant. We have newsletters, websites, and we're looking for ways like this to connect to new people and then to continue our current outreach, because we service such a wide range. And if you have somebody who lives like way out in, let's say, Erath and can't get into the city in Lafayette, we want to get out there to reach them to make sure they get help too. Okay, so just some of the different programs and partnerships we have. The Louisiana Developmental Disabilities Council, it works in advocacy, systems change, and capacity building to make sure that people with developmental disabilities have self-determination, they can live their own lives, and be included everywhere. Okay? We also have our Louisiana Youth Leadership Forum, and that's going to be this brochure you'll see out there. This is a youth advocacy camp. If you have a disability and you're in 10th to 12th grade, you can apply. And for 4 days in the summer, we stay at a college campus. The majority of the staff are people with disabilities. We learn about self-determination. We go to the Capitol. We meet with legislators. Of course, another big thing is we have a dance and a talent show that people like. And we have all kinds of activities to connect with other people with disabilities to show, hey, you can go back to your house and you can do these things in your community. There's a lot of different options. So this year, the Youth Leadership Forum is going to be at LSUE in July, and we are taking delegate applications until the end of the month. So this, if you look outside, this brochure will have the information, and it'll have the website on the back, so you can take a look at that. Not going to go too much into Troy's presentation, but Acadiana Area Human Services District, this is where you can go for any of these Act 378 services. That includes a lot of things like waiver, flexible family fund, individual and family support, supported living, transition, like y'all are transitioning out of high school, and then they also have a community support team. So he'll have a lot of information about that. Okay. We also have a program, the Family to Family Health Information Center. From birth to age 26, if you have a special health care need, medical questions, you can get help in navigating the healthcare system, because I know how fun the Medicaid system is, trying to learn all that. Well, this is a program out of Bayou Land Families Helping Families, so you can contact them and say, I need help trying to do this, maybe with SSI. I need help, changing over Medicaid and taking over my own health care. So they can do that. And again, all of these things are free. These are all nonprofit services. Okay? We also have, for early steps, that's for babies up to age 3, the early intervention program in Louisiana. And our outreach specialists make sure that parents know if there's information they need for any kind of developmental delays or disabilities. 0 to 3, they can potentially get services in the home, and they can contact them. Okay? Bureau of Family Health. Again, as you're starting to navigate all of these medical systems, with our partnership with the Bureau of Family Health, we want to make sure that we're connecting with doctors, the doctors are connecting with families, and that we're connecting back to us. Again, helping you navigate the different medical systems through the Bureau of Family Health. The big one we have, like today, we have our contract with the Department of Education. We have 2 education liaisons that will answer any kind of questions about education, and to make sure that students have a free and appropriate public education, and that you know your options as you're getting out of school, and that you know your rights and responsibilities too. So these are where we can help attend IEP meetings, making sure you know information about post-secondary opportunities. Maybe you don't want to go to college. Maybe you want to work. Maybe you want to go to do something in between. That's something we can answer questions about too. Okay. We also have the Louisiana Council's Advocacy Network, and this LACAN, again, is free to join, and they will send you information on any kind of changes at the legislature in policy and how it could affect you. We will actually be out at the Capitol next Tuesday and Wednesday for Yellow Shirt Days, where we travel to the Capitol and we wear yellow shirts to show that we're all together, and we can actually provide testimony and meet with legislators. So that's something that is free, and they'll have information on this on our blue brochure. We also have an adult program coordinator. Y'all are getting out of high school and moving into the adult world. Well, we have a lanyard club where we go out and do things, but also we do workshops to make sure, hey, what are the next steps in your journey? We have a disability job fair in October that we do through Lafayette Parish through LEDA, and anything you might need for adult services, he can connect you with. Okay. And then finally, we have our parent-to-parent program. This is a volunteer support parent training program where we can train parents to provide peer support to other parents. So if somebody calls and said, I have a daughter, she was just diagnosed with, let's say, dyslexia, and I want to talk to another parent that speaks Spanish. Well, we can see if we have a parent that meets those demographics, or if we don't, we can connect them with the national parent-to-parent USA program, so they can talk to a parent that's in the same situation. So we also have a lending library where you can check out, we have books, videos, DVDs, and you can always come to our office and take a look and check anything out that you'd like. Okay. Just a little bit about our office. We are at 100 Binman Road. It's in Lafayette. It's right off Cameron if you're going down by the freight trail. Also have our contact information, and that's on this blue brochure as well. And I have our Facebook and our email address, so you can always contact us for help. But like I mentioned, I know this is a lot of information, but just to show that you're not alone, and there's going to be a Families Helping Families anywhere in the state that you need, and that you can call us and you can get help for free. So kind of flew through that, but wanted to see if anybody had any questions. The Youth Leadership Forum, we're taking applications through the end of the month. And with that, when we have the applications come in, we'll set up like a meet and greet, and then go through the process to see who's selected as a delegate. And again, the Youth Leadership Forum, no charge at all, everything is free. I have a feeling y'all have more questions for Mr. Troy.
It's early. Any questions? Do any of the teachers or students here have any questions for us? We're wide open. So if you think of any, thank you. If you think of any as Mr. Abshire is talking from OCDD, feel free. At the end, we'll just take general questions for both of them. They'll be able to do that at the end as you take it all in. So next, I'd like to invite Troy Abshire from AAHSD, OCDD, with his decades of tireless services.
Thank you. Making me feel old.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
that. Do you want to do my brochure?
Yes.
There's only like 3 pages. So good morning, everyone. Glad to see y'all here. I know it's early, but I'm glad that y'all can hopefully stay awake during my presentation. As Ellen said, I've been doing this a long time. Y'all can tell by the gray in the beard. But yeah, over 32 years, I've been helping individuals with developmental disabilities. Our name is so confusing to everybody, and I'll give a brief history on that. So OCDD, Office for Citizens with Developmental Disabilities. That is what we were called from when I started in '99 and even before, up until 2013. And what happened is the legislators, they created these local government entities, which we were put in, and ours was in 2013, and we became AAHSD. And I always joke, Office for Citizens with Developmental Disabilities. It's like, that is a long name. There's no way they can make it longer. Well, we did it. It's Acadiana Area Human Services District Developmental Disability Section. So we've accomplished something with government, so that's fantastic. But all that means is, in the short version is, we have now more local control of our funding. So instead of calling Baton Rouge and asking them for money, we get the money and then we can decide where it wants to go, which is good for you guys because we want to get it to you all. without having to go through all this red tape and bureaucracy in Baton Rouge. So in a nutshell, that's what it meant. OCDD to a local government entity to AHSD. And we have that local control. We still go by OCDD. Like I'll go do a presentation and people will say, I'm with AHSD, and how many of y'all have heard of us? And everybody just kind of stands there. How about OCDD? And then everybody raises their hand. So, so we still go by that, but the services have not changed since the transition has happened. What we do is we provide supports and services to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So most of you guys in here may qualify. Some of y'all may even be getting some services. I think the 2 parents in here are getting services from us. Or 3, because Nicole is a parent and she's getting services as well. And we have to go through determination to make sure that y'all are eligible for our services. So what we do is we go through, the first thing you will ever encounter with us is our entry program. It's going through entry. And the school system is so important to us because we love their IEPs and their pupil appraisal evaluations, because it gives us a lot of information to tell us if you are or are not eligible for our services. And it's very simple to apply for our services. You call our office, or your parents call our office and say, hey, I want to refer myself, or I want my son or daughter, I want to refer them for services. That's all you have to say. Because then what happens is we transfer you to someone in our entry unit, and they start taking basic information. They're going to make an appointment to meet with you specifically, because we have to meet with every person who applies for our services. We want to meet you guys. And then we get information from y'all, or we write off of the information. And then we want to hear what y'all want to do. Like, why are y'all applying with us? What is the goals? What's going to happen? What is your dreams, your hopes, all those type of things. And then we start taking and gathering that information, because we want to see which program y'all are going to fit into. And we have several programs, and I'm going to briefly go through them. I don't expect y'all to know all of it, but there's going to be a quiz after this, okay? So I'm going to ask y'all some questions after. I saw some eyes got wide there for a sec. No, I'm joking. One of the programs we have is for under 18. It's called Flexible Family Fund. Nicole kind of referred to it. It's a $258 cash stipend. And the weird thing about this program is there's an eligibility component for DD services, but the FFF program is solely based on the exceptionality of the school IEP. So that is very important. So we're always getting IEPs and all. We serve 202 people here in this region, and at 18, a person exits out, and then we go to the next person on the waiting list. The waiting list is about 2.5 years long, which seems like a long time, but it actually goes by pretty quick to the families, because people are always constantly aging out, and we're putting new people in. I don't think anybody in here, student-wise, would qualify for that, but for parents out there, that is a program that is available. Our next program is our family support program. That is our biggest non-waiver program, and I like to call that our, I think, outside the box program. We can fund ramps, lifts, home modifications, adaptive devices, assistive technology, personal care assistance, respite, which y'all can think of, and if it's going to help you or help the family, we may be able to fund it. We have a priority system for that, because there's always more requests than there is money. And we have a committee. Ms. Nicole is on that committee as well. And we go through the request and we see if it meets a priority, and if we can fund it. If we have the money, we want to do it. Recently, we've helped some students in the Lafayette Parish school system at Austin Elementary. We funded some iPads because they had autism, and it was they needed help with communication. We had some funds. We were able to do that. So if y'all can think of some things, we might be able to fund it. Also in this program, we might be able to pay for furniture if you're moving out on your own, which I'm going to talk about a little later. Deposits for your first apartment, maybe the first month's rent, those type of things to get you started so you don't start off in debt. Because as the teachers and the parents in here can tell you, it is not cheap to live on your own. It's very expensive. And that's why we want to try to help those people who want to move in their own apartments or homes to get them ahead so they don't have those expenses. We also pay for some services through our family support where if you need a little help in your own apartment, we can help get a staff in there and do some services to help pay bills, maybe teach you some skills and those type of things as well. We also do transition services, and we do that with the school systems a lot. You may see me at some of y'all exit meetings when y'all are exiting high school, because I'm going to talk about some of these services maybe in more detail as it applies to y'all and see what y'all are going to do for the future after y'all graduate. Is everybody a senior in here? Okay. Is everybody want to stay another year, or are y'all ready to graduate? Y'all want to stay? No, I'm getting a lot of no's. Okay. All right. So definitely there's some things that we can talk about. Maybe employment, living on your own, living with your parents, maybe doing some goals and things like that. So you may be seeing me or one of my staff out there come into those things. We also have a thing where maybe sometimes you can't live at home anymore. You want to go live with a group of people, maybe 4 or 5 people. It's called community homes or group homes. We might be able to refer you to those things where you go live with 4 or 5 individuals, and they go out, they work, they do things out in the community, and they go out on the weekends, they have fun, but it's just more secure, and it's also more structured too, because some people need that as well. The last thing I'm going to talk to you all about today is the waiver program. That is our largest program we have. There's different waivers. There's 4 different waivers: Children's Choice, Supports Waiver, Residential Options Waiver, and New Opportunities Waiver. We are the largest provider of services in the state for waivers. We have last year we served over 2,700 individuals in our region. The next region, I think, was Region 2 or 9. They were at about 2,200. But we're the largest. Actually, we're the largest provider of all DD services in the state, of all that. So we are a large region, and that goes back to my predecessors. They really put the word out and got these services for the individuals. So we're really busy. The waiver programs, I'm going to talk more specifically about the audience people in here, but if y'all have some questions, y'all can ask. There's waiver programs that can help you guys live on your own. How many people plan on living with their parents the rest of their lives? I got 1. 2, okay, 3. So everybody else, y'all want to move into your own apartment, maybe live on your own, get a job, do those type of things? Okay, well, that's where we can help you. Like I said, we can help y'all start off with some furniture and do those type of things. But living on your own is not easy. It is difficult. You got bills you got to pay. You got to clean your apartment. You got to cook more than toast and things like that. You have to find a job maybe. So the waiver programs can help you guys do that, where somebody can come and assist you with doing those things. But also the big thing is to teach you how to live independently, to live on your own, and go out and do things. Get to doctor's appointments, schedule those appointments, go grocery shopping, teach you how to clean your apartment correctly. Just shoving stuff under your bed is not cleaning your apartment, okay? You got to actually clean it. Maybe find you an apartment that's based on your income, so you're not paying $1,000 a month in rent. Maybe it depends on your income, maybe $100, $150 a month. Okay? So we can help you guys do all of those things. That's what some of the waiver programs do. Also, for employment. I think Ms. Ellen's going to talk about LRS a little later. They also help find employment in the community. But sometimes some individuals aren't ready to go work out in the community yet. So we have something called day programs where y'all can go and work and make at least minimum wage or higher and do some things where it's supervised to make sure y'all can learn the skills to eventually go work out in the community. So there's a lot of stuff for y'all future that we can help you guys with. We just need to get you all in the system to make sure we can help y'all. Because I know when I was 20, I didn't want to live with my parents the rest of my life, okay? I want to visit them, but I didn't want to live with them. I want to have my own life. And that's what we can do for you guys, is we can help you with that and teach you those skills. So I'm going to highly encourage you to maybe talk to your parents or y'all yourself. Call those numbers up there, the 262-5610 number. And all you have to do is say, hey, I want to refer myself for some services. Or your parents call and say, I want to refer my son or daughter for services. And we can get you into the system. You can still live with your parents and still get services. But we want to get you out in the community, because for all of your life, you've had the school system to take care of you and help you and assist you. Once you graduate, I know y'all are excited, but y'all going to at one point say, oh, who do I call now? That's where we can come in and help you guys. I do want to make something clear, though, to everybody, is that you don't have to have our services when you graduate. We start at birth all the way to death. So we help everyone at any time. So if you qualify, we can help you at any time. Elementary school, high school, middle school, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. 50 years old probably sounds like old, right? When you get there, you're going to think different. I promise you, okay? It's not that old, but right now it is for y'all. I see all my parents and shaking their head. Is there any questions about the waiver programs? Because I just kind of briefly touched on that. It provides other things too. Taking y'all out in the community, teaching y'all, or if you can't do something for yourself, if you can't bathe yourself, dress yourself, feed yourself, those type of things, giving your mom and dad a break, okay? If they need to go out and do something, giving them some respite, doing those type of things. It also pays for modifications, ramps, lifts, home modifications, assistive devices, technology, those type of things. So it's a very comprehensive program, and it's all based on the needs of the individual. So a plan is written and tailored to what that person needs. Children's Choice, of course, is for children. And then the adult waivers are the supports, the residential options, and the new opportunities waiver. And the supports, Children's Choice, and residential options are capped waivers, which means you only have a specific amount of money per plan year that you can use, but we help you do that type of stuff. So please, if y'all get anything out of this, please just call our office. You may or may not be in the system, we can tell you, but to get in, because this is your future, and that's what we want. For the parents, you know, we're not getting any younger. Y'all wonder, what's going to happen to me if I'm not here? Who's going to take care of my child? And that's where we can come in and assist. We do that all the time to provide the services, because we can do services for up to 24-hour supports in a person's home, depending on their level of need. So that gives some reassurance and stuff like that. You know, we are also a network of information for you guys. We get calls all the time. I think Ellen mentioned earlier, wills, trust, all of those type of things. All of those things affect Medicaid and could affect services. So we have a vast amount of resources. The people in our office are a wealth of knowledge. We also have some individuals who work with us that are the parents of people that are getting services, or the siblings that are getting services. So it is a passion for them as well to teach this and get this information out to y'all. So if y'all have any questions, let me know. Oh, got a hand.
Last time I met with Kathy, she told us that the quad in Lafayette was applying for the waivers. Do y'all have any update on that?
Yes, that is a process. Ms. Molly asked me that earlier. The quad is applying to be like a day program, because we have the ARCs. It's a process. It's a grind. We met with them in early December to talk about what they're going to need. They're trying to get their manuals and stuff because to get in that service, they still have to go through licensing standards, and there's some other standards. So last I heard, they're working on doing that, yes. And we're excited about them because they're different than the normal day programs that focus on vocational mostly. The quad is going to focus on independent living and doing things like that. So we're excited about that because we find that's a missing component to everything. Yes, ma'am. Great question. No. 2018, 2019, we changed it all. There used to be. You used to hear 15,000 names, 12-year waiting list. So we went from a first-come, first-serve waiver to a needs-based waiver. So anybody who comes into the system is screened to see if they're eligible for a waiver. If they have the screening requirements, they get it right now. If they don't, they can reapply for a screening at any time. And there is no limit to the amount of screenings you get. So no more waiting list. We're actually doing very well. It hasn't been a waiting list since 2018, 2019 fiscal year. And depends on your ages, the waiver is what you get. So if you're under 21, you're going to get a children's choice. Unless you're 18 to 21, you have a choice of children's choice or supports waiver. Once you turn 21, though, it's supports waiver. If that waiver cannot meet your needs, then we can bump you up regionally to a residential options waiver, which basically means you get more hours in the home and in the community. If that is still not enough, we can apply to bump you to a new opportunities waiver, but that has to go to Baton Rouge, and they make the final decision on that.
So it supports waiver the same that it used to be, where it supports you going to like a
Day program, vocational-based services with about 171 hours in the home as well. Yes.
So if your child, so like my child is interested in applying to go to the UL Life program. So when she ages out of children's choice, would supports waiver still support her in going to the life program, or would she have to go to a day program?
No, she can go to UL Life. Actually, LRS, I heard, pays for UL Life now.
That was gonna be my next.
Yes. So they are funding that now. We would have you apply for maybe long-term personal care services through the Medicaid system, because you can get some hours through Medicaid and not us as well at the same time. If the supports waiver, 171 hours, is not meeting your needs, you can talk with us and your support coordinator about bumping to the row to where you still get the UL Life program and maybe get more of that independence and stuff maybe needed on campus and things like that through the residential options program. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a time frame, like when you would apply for like residential help? Like, say, one of my students could apply for rent assistance or something, getting into an apartment. What is the time frame from the time they apply to the time they would receive the service?
Okay, so that all depends on if there's an apartment available. If you got to have a place to live first for that help. If you're just needing deposits and stuff like that, it's pretty, 2 days at the most to get that financial assistance. It may take a week to get the furniture ordered. We actually have a little deal. They give us a discount with a local furniture company that they reduced it's not we don't pay retail for what they do because we've done some business with them enough and they started giving us discounts. But that type of stuff. As far as services go, it all depends on the individual and how much service they're going to need when they're in their apartment. If they're very capable and maybe only need maybe 4, 5 hours, 10 hours a week, we can do that pretty quick. If they're going to need more than that, then if they don't have waiver, it could take 2 to 3 months. But every situation is different and unique. If an individual like has an apartment, and if they're not ready to move into the apartment because they need the service, but if they don't move in, they could lose the apartment. We've done it to where I was like, hey, we can maybe assist with covering that 3 months rent so you don't lose the apartment, because apartments in Lafayette are not cheap. Y'all will find that out soon. And they're not available, especially the income-based ones. So we hate to see somebody lose an apartment if they don't move in right away and say, hey, we need to hold on to this. So it all depends on the situation. Does that answer your question? Yeah, I mean, if you have some more, go ahead. I mean, okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, so we look at everybody's situation individually, and based on what their needs are at that time is what we try to do. We have crisis funds as well under our family support program where we can act instantaneously on some things. We also contract with a couple respite centers where if a person can't be at their home for whatever reason, we can put them there temporarily where it's a safe, healthy environment to get them out of the situation they're in. I think we've done some stuff with some students in the past where we had to get them out of some situations. Ellen has called, and we've acted quickly and got them out of there. Adult protection as well. We work with them to get people in safe situations. And I always give this example. Some of y'all may have heard this, but years ago, I got a call from the police department. They found a mother and her daughter, who had a developmental disability, living in cardboard boxes behind the Home Depot on the north side of town. And the mom was not doing what she was supposed to do. They arrested her, and they said, what can we do with this young lady? We put her in a respite center. She ended up staying there for a while. She ended up getting a waiver, and she is living in her own apartment, thriving as today, doing so fantastic and doing very well. So those are things that we can help out with and do those type of things, and with our crisis funds. So we try to help out as much as we can. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I heard you say earlier that your OCPD has information about like tutorship and those things. So do we just call your office for that information?
Yes. So tutorship has to occur before the age of 18.
Right. And
Okay.
we have like our own, so I understand like the interdiction tutorship part.
Okay.
But is that the only option? So like in our case, we don't want to necessarily restrict her rights, but we want to be able to still help her navigate the medical system and go to doctor's appointments and those types of things. But we don't want to take away her ability
Yes.
to eventually learn, to be able to do those things in the
Right.
beginning.
So, yes, you can call. We can talk about the specific situations. One thing would be limited interdiction or limited tutorship, I think. And the attorney who would draw it up would talk to you about that type of stuff. But under waiver, we have something, if you have waiver, called authorized representation, authorized rep, where the person gives another person permission to maybe help make decisions and do those type of things. We always approach things as a team. You know, I don't want to take away a person's right. And for y'all who don't know, interdiction, I call it social death. If a person is fully interdicted, they lose rights to everything. You can't vote. You can't decide where you live. You can't decide where you go. It's pretty broad. And I understand why some people do need it because of protection and stuff like that. However, we don't get involved in families' decisions and stuff. We just say, this is what you're doing. You know what's best for your child, or you know what's best for the person you're doing this with. But we always approach it as a team decision. We're never going to leave people y'all want involved in your life helping you make decisions out. We're always going to include you that and talk about it and say, okay, let's talk about this as a team. Also, we have a great LDH attorney. She has a child that's receiving waiver. So she's pretty passionate about this, and I can always call her, hey, I got this situation. What do you think? And she can kind of give us from a legal standpoint what to do or give advice, or would even meet with the families to talk about this stuff. So Yeah, so we know some attorneys that do this, and then talk about your specific situation on how you do it. But if it's waiver, it's usually an authorized rep type of thing to where you're always involved in that, or limited interdiction or something. Because I've seen limited interdictions where they only say they can't make financial decisions or they can't make medical decisions. People have also a misconception about power of attorneys. People call, I have power of attorney, I can make all the decisions. No, that's not what power of attorney is. It's when they're incapacitated to make those decisions that you step in to do that. And a person can revoke a power of attorney at any time, verbally or on paper. So if you have power of attorney over someone and they say, I don't want you to be my power of attorney more, and they win, it's over, it's done. But we talked to our LDH attorney, who is fantastic, to talk about those type of things. But we always include your family. We always include the individual, because it's your life, okay? I'm not going to tell y'all where you should live. Yes, ma'am.
To request another future of like my uncle is diagnosed with special needs also, and his mom gave birth to him, and my mom gave birth to me because I'm a special little girl because I went to a Dr. Williams, and since I was a baby, I've been to the doctor since my mom got pregnant with me, and I just wanted to know about another future of Down syndrome and special needs. So I'm the only one is a girl in the house. I have 2 more moms and 2 big brothers.
Well, that's a great question. You know what? The president of the Down Syndrome Society is sitting in this room. And she's sitting right there. Look, Miss Molly. She's the president of the Down Syndrome Association. So she is a lady you may want to talk to who can maybe give you some advice and some help and some tips. So
That's
that
a
is
great
fantastic.
question.
Great question. And how lucky is it that we have the president of the Down Syndrome
How about
Association
that?
in the
A
house
linkage
now?
right here. Real-time linkage.
Yeah.
So I have a family that when their child came up on the list for the now waiver before they changed everything, the person that was talking to her about that was saying, they need to be in dire need, and she's like, oh, well, my son's not in dire need, and so she refused it, and she was taken off the list. Now that the child is 21 and has graduated high school, she is in need if she has nothing. Can she come to your office and see if she qualifies for something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So all that, if they were coming up for link, she's probably in this. The child's probably in the system. All we have to do is request a new screening for the waiver. If they qualify, since it's over 21, it would be the supports waiver initially. But if the needs are there to bump up to the higher waivers, then we would go through that whole process based on the need. So yeah, they call our office. Just because they didn't accept it years ago, now it's even better. Back then, it was like you go to the bottom of the list and you wait another 12 years. Now, rescreening, if they get it, they get the appropriate waiver, and then we look at the situation and bump to the most appropriate waiver for services for that individual at that specific time. And people have actually bumped up and down. Some people have said, I need more hours, but some have, believe it or not, have said, look, I'm doing great. I don't need a row anymore. I just want to go to day program. So they've bumped down to the supports waiver. And then they can always go back up at that time. And believe it or not, this has saved the state a lot of money because everybody was getting a new opportunities waiver when we were on the first come, first serve, and we were approaching that threshold of institutional cost care, which means that the cost of the waiver was approaching the cost of what it would cost to be in an institution. And then the feds could have came in and said, well, why are we paying all this money when we could pay for institutional care and you're paying the same amount? So I think it was a great idea. So not everybody is getting the new opportunities waiver, which probably is about $60,000, $65,000 a year. Where they're getting what they need, which could be only $20,000 or $25,000. So we're serving more people at a cheaper cost. So I think it was really, really good what they've done. And we get linkages like every single day for new waivers. I mean, it's unbelievable.
So if, like, things with your department, it kind of all goes by the IEP. When the child graduates and no longer has an IEP, what do they need?
So we have to establish, a developmental disability, the state law is a disability which occurs before the age of 22, is likely to continue indefinitely, is not attributable to a mental health issue. Okay? And then they have to meet substantial functional limitations for ages 10 and over in 3 of 7 areas. So if we can get some history that, even if it's an old IEP, that establishes a qualifying diagnosis before the age of 22, we can use that information.
Yes, but like every year you send in the IEP. Well, if they don't have an IEP, what do they do when they're out of school? You know,
So if that's only for the FFF program, so they need the IEP. Only if they're getting that, we need the IEP. But there are some individuals who don't go to school. They can get something from a doctor or somebody saying they meet 1508 criteria if they don't have an IEP from the school system.
And if I could chime in here, what we do get periodically is we have students who have graduated come and request copies of their old IEPs from us, so we can provide that to them, and they in turn can provide that to OCDD.
Right.
To show that's evidence that they had an exceptionality and received those services when they were school age, which I think is, helpful to y'all in
Yeah, absolutely.
making that determination.
Yes, and then, we also get all the time, 80-year-old parents taking care of their 50-year-old child. There's no school records or anything. So if we can establish through family, through a age of manifestation statement, saying like, talking to relatives or somebody of how they were before the age of 22, then what we'll do is we'll do a psychological evaluation to establish what their disability is and their functional limitations are at no cost to anybody. So none of these services that we're talking about here cost y'all anything. It's all free to y'all. So we would pay for the evaluation if we have to establish if there's no IEP or old information or something like
so
that.
if they have an IEP, you can use that even if it's X amount years old because it was established, but they don't have to have something in its place.
Correct. Yeah, medical records, IEPs, psychological evaluations, psychiatric evaluations, because if we are in doubt, we'll either do a full psychological evaluation, something called a Vineland, which is the adaptive functioning testing, sometimes an autism evaluation if needed, because we have to establish that criteria. We have to prove that they meet it, but we use all kinds of different means. It's just easier when there's a pupil appraisal evaluation and it's all laid out for you. Like, okay, good, I don't have to pay a psychologist to do it, But, so it's very valuable information, but it's not an end, like, I don't have this information. And that's another reason why we want to meet with everybody. We want to meet and see and talk to the people and see who we're talking to, who wants to be served. Because a lot of times we can say, yeah, there's something there, but we need to get some testing done if there's nothing. So we'll find a way if it needs to be. Yeah. So, well, I want to thank y'all, and good luck to everyone. Happy seniors. There's only how many days left of school? 31. The teachers,
How
the
about that?
teachers said that. Yeah. So it's right around the corner. So if y'all are interested in any services, just call that number.
Sorry, I've already
That's all right.
changed the slide on
262-5610, and just say, hey, I'm interested. Some of y'all, I think, may be in the system already, but we can always check. The teachers can check for y'all as well. And good luck to all of y'all. Thank y'all so much.
you. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Abshire said something at the end that I spend a lot of time, thank you, that I spend a lot of time saying at meetings and to people and that kind of thing. You know, if you need something or you're in need, the big takeaway here is call 262-5610. They'll answer the phone, tell them that your child is, or you, or, you know, a child in your care is receiving special education services. What can they do for you? Also, you know, again, Families Helping Families is here. Their number is 984-3458. And you can get that same information from them. They're there to guide people through the process. So really, two numbers, and call them, tell them you're in need. I often tell people, call those numbers, tell them, you know, what you're looking for, and listen to everything they offer you. Don't turn anything down. Just wait and see what you think of it, to not make those quick snap decisions, you know. So just some good advice there. We, up on the screen, you'll see the contact information for Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. They're under the Louisiana Workforce Commission. So workforce is an important word there. Crystal Romaine was unable to be here today, so I'm just going to touch briefly on services that they provide. To our seniors that are here today, you'll be having meetings in the very near future. You're going to see Mr. Abshire likely at your meeting. You may see a representative from Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. The goal of this agency is to provide assistance to individuals who have physical or cognitive disabilities in getting and keeping a job. So those of our seniors that are here today are working as part of our community-based program through the Lafayette Parish School System. That's where you get vocational training at a variety of places in the community. You have a leg up right there. You have your references as teachers. Some of our business partners in Lafayette Parish, which are numerous, want to provide references for our students as well. So when you have these meetings, you'll have somebody from Louisiana Rehabilitation Services there. They're going to discuss the wide variety of services that they offer, which are, and I'm going to kind of just read the list here: vocational guidance and career counseling, training services, assistive technology services, or devices if they're needed to get and maintain a job, tools or equipment that you might need to get a job, on-the-job training or job placement assistance, assistance in obtaining services if you need a scribe or a reader, if you need a personal care attendant or an interpreter on the job, they can connect you to those services. So these are important people when we're talking about work. They also provide supported employment services, which is essentially they help you find a job. They provide trainers to begin the job with you, who it's called fading out. So they slowly fade out as they're training you, and then they leave you on your own, but they're available to you for the long term if you have any employment needs. So all of the things that you've been learning in school, which isn't just the job itself. It's not the collection of skills that you've learned. It's It's what's referred to as soft skills, but you're learning how to advocate for yourself, how to communicate if you're having a problem on the job, those kinds of things. Those are really, really important skills, and of great benefit as you go out into the world to get jobs. So LRS's services are available to individuals with disabilities throughout their lifetime. So you can receive services multiple times. I'll give you an example. LRS helps a person get a job, and the person works at the job for 5 years. The business closes, they lose their job. The person can contact LRS and request assistance again, because these things happen. So, that's an example of how you can receive it throughout your lifetime. You can actually refer yourself. You just have to call, or a parent or an advocate, that kind of thing. What was it you called the person who, Troy, the person who assists in services when they don't have when they're not interdicted? Not a tutorship. No, I can't remember. There you go, authorized representative. I'm trying to commit this to memory here so that I'm ready to spat it out. Thank you. Yeah, so your authorized representative, your guardian, your caregiver, your parent, you yourself can call LRS. You can call 262-5353, and you just say, I need to refer myself for services. Basic information is taken, and they determine if you're eligible. Once a vocational rehabilitation counselor is assigned, and that's the person with this agency, they'll work with you closely to develop what's called an IPE. So they've reversed the acronym for us here. It's an individual plan for employment. For any agencies or services needed after graduation, it truly is the individual's responsibility to follow up and provide the information that's needed to determine eligibility. And that's why in the school system, we really encourage self-advocacy as an important component of things. Young people hear a lot, take responsibility. You're responsible. Get your stuff together. Keep track of your stuff. All those things add together now at this pivotal moment in your life that you're at a point where you need to take that responsibility. It's really important. So this information is really valuable to gather and have in your pocket as you leave the school system and graduate, go on to great success in your life, which I'm sure you'll all have. So that's really a brief summary of the services that Louisiana Rehab Services provides. Does anybody have any questions about this service? If I can't answer them, I'll take them down and follow up with them.
So I heard you say that students will attend a transition meeting. So if
Yes.
the child has their IEP meeting, the transition meeting is something outside of that.
It can be. It can either be at that same time, so it may be depending upon when their last IEP is. It could be at the same time, or it could be a different meeting. It'll happen the year that they graduate from school, unless any of these services are needed prior. So, and we use that term transition, and it's change. Everybody knows that transition means change, moving from one thing to another, but it's really a collection of activities throughout their lifetime. So if they need this information earlier, we'll do that. And OCDD can really speak to that because they come to IEPs if needed throughout school for some students. Yeah, elementary school age students will have a representative from OCDD there as well. So again, I just want to really highlight this information. The big takeaway, I think, for today is certainly the phone numbers, 262-5610. I frequently write that on the back of my card and give it to parents and say, call this number. and I'll say, keep calling. You know, Families Helping Families, 984-3458. Those are people who really understand from a really unique perspective on how to link parents and guardians, caregivers, and students to services they may need. And then, of course, LRS, and the number is up there. But let's see, it's 262-5353 here in Lafayette. So those are the three agencies that we're focusing on now. They're the I don't know if clearinghouse is exactly the word I would use, but they can, if they can't provide the service, they'll find out how to do it. And we really speak from experience in the Lafayette Parish school system that when we call these people, they are absolutely there. Those urgent situations that Mr. Abshire was describing, on numerous occasions, I myself have called, and they are there without hesitation. It's really amazing. We're very, very lucky, I believe, in Lafayette Parish and Region 4 to have the amount of resources that we have in our area. I want to also, just as I wrap everything up, feel free to, if you have any questions, follow-up questions, you can certainly ask your teachers, you can call the school, and we'll get an answer to you. Those of you that are on Facebook Live or on YouTube, just chime in with those questions, and we'll do our best to answer them as quickly as we can. And I just wanted to thank, again, I thanked Holly Ortego, the Executive Director of Special Education, who constantly challenges us to do the best that we can for our students. Everybody is working as hard as we can, as fast as we can, doing the best that we can at all times to ensure that the whole student is addressed throughout their time in the public school system. And also, I'd like to thank Amy Bowden and Pam Wiley. They were really helpful today in setting this up, and all of you signed in with them as you entered the room. So I want to thank them for their constant support and making the community skills program run, which is no small task, I can tell you that for sure. But getting information to students and their families, they're absolutely essential. Does anybody have any questions before I close everything up? All right. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate it. And let us know if you need anything. That's really it. Thank you.